Once again, good evening, everybody. It is HBCU Coaches Corner on a Tuesday night. It is Mr. Campbell, and of course, in the building, Coach of the Year, SWAC champion, SIAC champion, coached many places and done many things. The legendary Mr. Clean, Coach Johnnie Cole. Coach, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Look, hey, I couldn't miss the night. And, I want to be known as a first-class show. I think, man, you been carrying the torch while I've been trying to get my life together. And not necessarily my life is bad, but, I'm still working and
teaching. You got some big things going on, Coach.
Yeah, I got some things going on in my life, man, and had to been doing some traveling. And, you've been carrying the torch. And I can't say enough about you, man, and that big deal, that sipping on Sunday, man. I tell you, that thing hitting, Coach. That thing is hitting.
Well, see, Coach, it's the setup, setup for the big thing on Tuesday. See, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're able to do a little sipping on Sunday so we can talk on Tuesdays. You see what I'm saying?
And tonight, man, I mean, you talking about first-class guy, and we going to do something special to him tonight. I know he in the back. We're going to do something special. I'm going to do something special for him tonight. And I can't say enough about this guy. He's first class, man. I don't know. Am I doing the intro or you doing the intro?
No, I can. Well, Coach, you can do it if you want. It ain't
he's first class, Coach, man. And he's always had open arms, and I'm big on selling my program. I'm gonna sell my program to an ant as well as I'm gonna sell my program to a big ego. And he's never had an issue with that, man. He's always given us his time, his effort. He's definitely a championship kind of guy. You could tell from what he's done and what his mark is. And I'm going to save some of that for later on in the show. Let's bring the man behind the championships. Yeah, I said it.
Multiple coach.
The championships, the athletic director, the general manager, the guy who's in front of the boat with the flag, Anton Goff. Anton Goff.
There he is.
There he is.
What's up, man? What's up? Well, how y'all boys doing, man?
Coach, man, we doing great, man. When we get greatness on our show, you know what I'm saying? It's just a privilege. And, Scotty has passed the torch to us. And so we got to hold it right. He gave us the torch, and we carry this show on, man. And when we get an opportunity, to get people like yourself that's behind the scene, that's big. That's big. We want you to know that we appreciate your time and effort, man. And, I know you just came off a big basketball season. You come off a big football season. Man, I mean, Coach, you're up in the plane, you're down in the plane, you're in the car. You're rolling, but you always had time, man. When the HBCU Coaches Corner called, man, you pick that phone up.
Yeah, I'm gonna come on anytime y'all guys want me to come on, man. I got nothing but love for y'all, man. Y'all showed love for me from the day I stepped on campus, man, August 2023, man. So I'm never gonna forget that. You know what I'm saying? Before anybody really knew who I was in the SWAC. So and number love for y'all, man, and respect. So anytime you call me, I'll pick up the phone. Anytime you want me to get on the show, I'm gonna get on for y'all.
Yeah. Well, let me say that, and that goes into right what I'm gonna do. You looking at close to 90 years of SWAC, period. With me and Mr. Campbell. I know I've been around for 42 years, actually in SWAC. You know what I mean? I came from Ohio. Yeah. You went to school with my homeboy. Tonight, yep. I'm SWACing you. You a SWAC.
I'm officially SWAC now.
You officially SWAC. So
okay,
you
I
say
appreciate
whatever you want, and we're gonna be in the fight with you. You SWAC, and following that, we're gonna get in about you and who you are, and the reason why I'm SWACing you, this is the Prairie View of old, back in the 60s. Ain't that right, Campbell?
Yeah.
This the 60s.
Listen, let me say this. AD, listen, and I'm saying this very respectfully, because I know you've been around since 2023. But like Coach said, me and Coach was in it. I was born in it. So I've been around this thing 50 years. AD, I'm just going to tell you a secret. We ain't talked this much about Prairie View in 50 years of my life.
Hey, that's good, man. That's good. That's what we want.
So I'm just telling you, my mother called me, and she, my mother, shout out to my mother. She said, "Wait a minute, y'all doing another Prairie View show?" And now my mother, old school Jackson State. I said, "Yeah, Mom, we doing another Prairie View show." She said, "What they got going on down there?" So, hey, AD, listen, when the old school Tigers is taking notice, hey man, you're doing something great down there in Texas, man.
I'm talking about AD Doc. This school had an 8-year span of 0-88. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's tough. A lot of people remember that, man.
Football down, track down, golf down. But one thing I could say about the Prairie View A&M fans, even when I was a player, they show up. They showed up. No matter what the score was or nothing, they showed up. I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed for the Labor Day, for the Celebration Bowl. I thought we could have had a little more up in there, but
we're gonna work on that.
Hey, look, you already got your basketball going. I know you put some pressure on Coach Bodsman. That's what you do. You're a winner, Coach. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say it. See how you don't turn this program around. You know what I mean? You don't white folks us, man. you're doing it the right way. You know what I mean? You look at the resumes. Yeah. You following backgrounds. You want champions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got a method to my madness over here, man. You know what I'm saying? That I've been tweaking for 30 years now, man. When it comes to hiring coaches, administrators, and I got a certain way of doing it, man. And I like to do it my way. And I'm fortunate to have a president that allows me to do it my way. And so I can't thank her enough for allowing me the leeway to hire coaches the way I want to hire them. So and it's been working out so far. So when you do something a certain way and you reap the fruits from it, they allow you to keep doing it.
Wow. I'm just excited about bringing you in and where you started at NIU. You've been at Bowie State and you've been successful. But I want to start with what's most important. It's the academic piece, and kind of looking at your degree, your start off in this athletic realm. Of course, we'll get into your mom and all that. You was an academic guy.
Yeah. I started out. My first job was at Kent State University. I held like 4 different jobs at one time, man. Before they actually had director of basketball ops and football ops, I was director of basketball ops and football ops at the same time. I was an academic advisor for football, basketball. So that's where I got my start, man. And for me, it's always been about, I got 2 passions, man. That's college athletics and helping young folks, man. And so when I was in that academic position, man, I felt like I was able to shape guys' lives, man, because I saw a lot of dudes, man, that looked like me, acted like me, and had the same background as me, you know what I'm saying, that just needed some guidance, man, from someone like me. And so, that's how I started out, man, and then went from there, went to University of Maryland, and then kind of started specializing. I did all the academics for University of Maryland men's basketball team, ended up winning a national championship there with Hall of Famer Gary Williams. And then the craziest thing ever, man, Saban leaves LSU. Bobby Williams gets the job. Somehow Bobby Williams hears about me, calls me, and wants me to be on his staff. And so I go out there and, I'm in the Big Ten at Michigan State with Bobby Williams, man. And that's when I kind of started now supervising people and getting a little more into the development, academics, administration, upper level administration. And then lo and behold, I got called by Debbie Yow at University of Maryland to come back home, right? She's like, I need you back here, right? And so went back there, associate AD, man. Now I'm over all 27 sports, overseeing academic, overseeing career development, community service, and started getting into some development stuff, man. And so was there for a while, did my second stint at Maryland. Then out of the blue, I get a call from the president at Bowie State. Now, Bowie State and University of Maryland probably about 8 miles apart from each other, man. And so wasn't looking to move down to a D2, wasn't really looking to be an AD at that point. But out of respect for him, man, I've got a lot of respect for authority, right? That's my mom instilled that in me. And so he asked me to have lunch with him. So I went over there, had lunch with him, man. And a couple conversations later, man, I was the AD at Bowie State. And that was my first AD job. And, you know, went from Bowie State, then I jumped up to University of Hartford in Connecticut, then to St. John's, and then I want to get back to some football and back to the MAC. You know, I played football at Bowling Green State University in the Mid-American Conference. So go to Northern Illinois University, work there, and then I get a call out the blue from the president who had been on the job like 2 months, man. And you know, the one thing that resonated with me, she said, I'm a first-time president. I can't have a first-time AD. Meaning she was looking for somebody with some experience. And, you know, I had never been in the SWAC. I'd never lived this far south, man. You know what I'm saying? I was a Midwest, East Coast guy. And, you know, I loved her vision, though. You know, her thing was, I'm looking to try to be a premier, you know, university, man, regardless of HBCU or anything else. I'm trying to make a premier university. And that's, you know, for me, that's what I was looking for, you know. And so came down here and started out, like I said in the beginning, man, August 2023, man. And, you know, it's been great down here so far, man. And, you know, like you said, we won the football this past year, won men's basketball, won women's golf a couple weeks ago, and, you know, had won the regular season in volleyball. And so it's been an exciting time at PV, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to continue to get better and hopefully keep winning championships.
Well, you know, and I'm glad you gave me that background, because that gave me a little bit, you know, of course you coach with a homeboy of mine that I grew up with, you know, so I'm going to take you to your playing years. You know, you balled out in high school, you got that big, were you a cerebral player? Because it seems like, and again, coming from your mom who's been in the athletic realm, so you already kind of had some armor going in as you know, I know where athletics can take me, so I know I'm going in there with my academic mind as well. What kind of player was you? A cerebral player, not really just focusing on your position, but kind of looking at kind of everything? Where I know you picked up a lot of stuff from your mom. I had a chance to meet her, wonderful woman. Were you that type of player? Because I got some right behind that.
Yeah. I was a student of the game, man. Like I wanted to be able to play both sides, like the X and the Y, you know what I'm saying, the Z. Like I wanted to be able to play, like I knew what all three receivers was doing when we was in trips, you know what I'm saying? And so I always prided myself on being highly intelligent, man. Like I never ran away from that. And, you know, because I always felt like, you know, you could use your intelligence to get an advantage some way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not always about athleticism. And so that's exactly how I looked at it, man.
Right. And one of the things, and I'm saying that to say that, why you didn't hire an NFL coach?
Listen, man. So first of all, man, me hiring Coach Jackson, man, was a God thing, right? Like I got a deep faith, man, and I'll tell you the story how the whole thing jumped off, and it started in 2023, right? 2023, we're playing FAMU in homecoming, right? We can't stay in Tallahassee. We got to stay in Valdosta, right? Well, we stay at Valdosta. I leave the hotel after team dinner. I go to the cigar bar, right? They have this big old billboard out there on the highway talking about Valdosta State, Georgia's University, something. And I remember probably in about 2018, I think I was in New York, man. I was watching Netflix and saw this Netflix special about Valdosta High School, right? Football. And I always intrigued by that, like how they take it so seriously. And so in my mind, I was like, man, I wonder who the coach at Valdosta State is, right? So as I'm relaxing, chilling, I look it up. I see Tremaine Jackson. I'm like, oh, man, that kind of surprised me, right? So I read his bio. I see he's from Houston. I see, you know, he had some background in the SWAC and a whole bunch of other schools. I was like, man, you know, watch this dude. Hopefully he continues to do well, because I always remember when I was in D2, Valdosta State was always a powerhouse, right? And so Fast forward, man, you know, in the 24 season, when I was thinking about making a change, I just happened to be like, I wonder what that dude Tremaine Jackson is doing. I look him up. Dude has balled out the last 2 years since I looked him up in 23, right? He's making a run. He's making a run, right? Again. So I was like, you know, when we started doing a search, I was like, I need to get in touch with this dude and just rap with him, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember looking him up in 2023. I wasn't trying to hire him in 2023. I wasn't even thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, something put that on my heart, man, to think about him when it was time to do the coaching search, man. And you know, immediately clicked with him, man. And like I said, I got a unique way of hiring coaches, man. Like, it's not, for me, it's not just about interviewing coaches, it's about getting to know them, right? And especially when it comes to, you know, your football coach, your basketball coach, things of that nature, because I know in this business, when you hire a football coach, you are putting your career in that man's hands and he's putting his career in your hands. And so I wanted to make sure he understood that and that I understood that, and he understood that I understood that, right? And so, you know, my thing was, man, after we got past the surface stuff, me and that dude talked every single day, man, up until his run to the national championship, until he was officially announced. And we still talk today, man, every single day, several times, man. So that hasn't changed.
Let me tell you, you know, iron sharpens iron, you know, and I recognize championship guys. You can ask Mr. Campbell when we talk, and I tell him, well, this who's about to win. This is when I said that this guy is unbelievable. It's when you had to let go one of the most charming, most good men that I've ever met in my life, when you had to let go Bubba. Come in there. And I know it had to be hard, because I've never, I ain't gonna say I never, he's one human that I've met in my life that I say, man, is one of the most sweetest, I'll say it, sweetest, kindest persons that I ever known. And when you did that, I said, this guy's about business. He understands the fabric of the game. He understands that, hey, man, in this game, it's about winning, man. It's about winning.
No doubt.
Winning
No
open
doubt.
all the doors. And
that was tough, man. It was tough. You know, I prayed over it. Me and Bubs prayed together. I cried, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it was tough, man. Because I genuinely love that man. Because like you said, man, he's one of the most genuine dudes you'll ever meet, man. I still talk to him every once in a while, check on him. He checks on me, man. When we did something, every time we did something good, he'd call and congratulate me, man. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, man, keep doing what you're doing over there, man. But that was tough, man. But, you know, like I said, man, I had to, you know, really, really think about it and really, really, you know, be convicted on what I was going to do. And we did it.
Yeah. And I want people to know something about you from off the camera. And I think I've never had this in my career. As many as championships I've won, Campbell, as great as my offenses have been, how important it is that your relationship with your football coach. Because you do a fabulous job, man. And I'm just saying, from being a head football coach and never having that, even when I work with my brother, never having an AD to come over and sit down and have dinner and you know, have trust in you. I've never experienced that. Many champs, I've been a part of 6 championships, coach. I've never had that. It's always been, how important is that? And that means a lot to me as well. I mean, you just gained my respect all over this game. Whether you got a farm in the, but you always been able to separate the personal from the business.
Yeah, no, I think it's important, man. Like, especially, you know, football is your most visible sport most of the times. And for probably 99% of the folks that got football is your biggest sport, right? It's your money maker. It's the most visible. It brings you the most eyes to your university. So to have a good football program is important. And especially here in Texas, right? Like, Texas football is huge, man. I don't care on what level you're talking about, from elementary school to the pros. But for me, man, it's always important to have a positive relationship with all your coaches, but especially football, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things, you know, for me was, when I was hiring a football coach, I wasn't just hiring a football coach. I also wanted to hire a football guy. because I've been around this business a lot of times where you might have a football guy who's not a football coach, or you might have a football coach that's not a football guy. But when you got both in one, you got a chance to win, man. And so, Coach Jackson is definitely both of those, man. And so, it's important for us, man, to always be open with our communication, man. Me asking him what he needs, him telling me what he needs. Now, I can't give him everything, but I at least need to know. But I also got to be able to be honest with him when I can't give him something, to let him know as well, and not giving him false promises where he's thinking he's going to get something and then I don't come through. Now my words not golden. You know what I'm saying? We always talk all the time, playing cards face up, man. You know what I'm saying? Put your cards on the table. This is what we got. This is what we trying to do. What can we do with it?
Man, I tell you, you got a rough job, Coach. You kicking butt in basketball, you kicking butt in football, but they putting the see, the people don't understand. They putting the pressure on you because them folks need to be paid. You know what I mean? All
Yeah.
down line, you know what I mean? And maybe you, Coach, you might need to do a AD seminar, because I am very impressed with what you're doing and where you're going with this program, because you guys are just getting bigger and bigger. I tell you guys, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be with you guys at the State Fair Classic and eating with you guys and being able to sit there, man. And I'm looking at the football team, Bishop, and then another 20 people come in. I'm like, well, damn, Coach, you brought the freshman football team? That was the media people. And I'm just like, boy, they doing it up here. Talk about how important that is in because all this is you. I love Coach Jackson to death, and Coach Byron, we was there again. This your set.
No, it's important, man, to have a great support system around. Like, it's one thing to have, a coaching staff, but it's another thing to have a support staff for your coaching staff, right? That's if you look at, the Alabamas, the Georgias and them, man, on a football staff, they got 50 people, right? Now, I can't employ 50 people, but I might be able to get us 25. You know what I'm saying? And so, I want to make sure that, that we've got the media people, we got the video people, the social media people, coaching them, have analysts to help them out, right? You know what I'm saying? Not just running backs coach, but you need an assistant runners back coach, you need an analyst, then you need a GM, the manager roster, and an assistant GM. So all those things, man, are resources that me and Coach talk about that he felt like he needed to win. And I want to make sure I provide them, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what we're doing here. Like, and like you said, the pressure, I've hired 5 new coaches in the past year, right? So I hired Coach Jackson. He wins the SWAC West, the SWAC championship. We go to the Celebration Bowl. I hired Dottie Hampton as our volleyball coach. She goes ahead in her first year and wins the regular season SWAC volleyball joint, right? I hired a golf coach. His first season, he wins the women's golf championship, right? And so, like, 3 out of my 5 won championships. And so, but which each one of them, I gave them the resources to compete at the highest level. Right. And so, and I'll continue to do that. We're going to continue to give the resources to men's basketball, because we want to repeat that run that we just had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had dinner. Coach was at dinner. We went to a steakhouse and we was with some corporate sponsors, and I was telling them, I said, man, we're one of 3 Division I schools that won football and men's basketball in the same year. The other 2 are Kennesaw State and Duke, right? Like, Jesus. Nobody would have thought. Yeah, nobody had thought, like, man, PV, Kennesaw, and Duke, the only 3 in the country. Like, that's a elite class to be in one particular year, right? And so,
I hope these PV alumni understand it costs the bread. But go ahead.
Winning cause. Yeah, so we're going to continue to give our coaches the resources, man, and we're doing pretty well in our other sports. Softball's first in the West right now. Coach Bland's got them girls rolling, getting ready to finish up men's and women's golf. Men's and women's track outdoor, compete in the SWAC championship, and then our women's golf team is preparing for the NCAA. So it's been a good year so far, man, but still not satisfied, man. That's the one thing we're never going to be here at PV. Never going to be satisfied where we're at, because there's always a next level to reach.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask one more question. I'm turning it over to Bishop. You know, you my guy, so tell me, HBCUs, we always complain, you know, about what we don't have, and which is fair. You know, we ain't like the Division I schools, but it seems to me that you have came in and have taken a nickel and made it out of 25 cents. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what make winners, Mr. Goff. Besides you hiring great coaches, it's you. It's you go out and get, or you know how it looks. That's what I'm trying to say. You know how winning looks. You know what I mean? And what you need. Man, I can't pay you $50,000, but I can pay you 20. But I need to. You know what I'm saying?
You need the other 30 to do something with to help you win. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, man. Like
you squeeze a nickel, man, and just money just fall out.
Try to, man. You have to use your resources wisely, man. And you got to have people to understand that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, I could pay you a certain amount of money, but you may not be able to pay your assistant coaches a certain amount to get the quality assistant coaches you need. So you can be greedy if you want to, you know what I'm saying? But you're not going to win. So your tenure won't be here as long, you know. But I've been, like I said, man, earlier, I've been in this business 30 years.
Yeah.
You never have enough money. I'm telling you, I don't care what level you're at, man. When I was at University of Maryland, we didn't have the same money as Duke or North Carolina. When I was at Michigan State, we didn't have the same money as Michigan or Ohio State. When I was at Bowie State, we didn't have the same money as Winston-Salem at the time when they went D1 and then came back. When I was at University of Hartford, I didn't have the same money as Stony Brook. When I was at St. John's, we didn't have the same money as Georgetown or Villanova. Northern Illinois, I didn't have the same money as Toledo. So, like, you never have enough, man. Somebody's always going to probably have a little more than you. But if you use your resources wisely, you hire the right people, you motivate them, you have the right support, you can win. Right.
Well, I'm going to throw my little 2 cents in, and this ain't Tremaine Jackson's show. You know, I taught him that. And he understands that greatly, and he's put together a staff. And sometimes, as you say, I can't get the best staffer, but winning starts at the top.
Absolutely.
And of course, you start the conversation out with the president. This is what I want. Anton, your job is to go hire me a football coach. It ain't street committee. It ain't who shot John and who did this. Is you, Mr. Goff. I need a football coach. And I'm telling you, man, and all three of you are in line. You know,
absolutely. That's important.
AD and head football coach. I can't say enough. Man, I'm turning it over to Campbell.
Eddie Goff, listen, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna give you the highest honor. As you know, being an athletic director is not hiring a football coach; it's building an athletic program. And what I'm seeing here is you're building a program, and I think that's important. I think all great leaders, when they come into situations, 2 things they got to do: find out exactly what they got, and then go get what they need. And I say that to set up this. You know you need to get a football coach. You went and got a football coach. You know you need to get a golf coach. You got a golf coach. Like you say, a championship. Same thing about. But one of the most important thing I think was valuable, and I'm going to say this, is that you kept Byron Smith. Now, you got there in 2023. His first year, he was 10-21. So I believe that was a valuation. His next year, he was 5-27. Right then and there, many people were around the SWAC was like, could be. What was it that you saw and said, you know what? He's the right man. I'm going to stay with Coach Smith. And then by you having that knowledge and understanding of what you felt Coach Smith was, turned into a SWAC championship. Why was that? Because I'm just, AD, you know how it is now. You know how it is. Everybody's on social media. And again, he does have a resume, but again, his resume has to be with you now. and you have to evaluate them on your watch, and you only being your second year. Why did you keep Coach Smith?
So couple things, man. I love Coach Smith's passion, man. Some people think he may go overboard on the sidelines, whatnot, man. But I see the guy every day, man. He wants to compete. He wants to win, man. And this year was critical, obviously. Like, you know what I'm saying? His third year. And so I just felt like, you know, one of the things I'd always talk to him about, like, man, I was like, man, like, why are guards so little, coach? You know what I'm saying? He likes those tenacious little guards, you know what I'm saying? So I used to joke with him, like, man, we got to get bigger. We got to get bigger. And so this year he got bigger, man, and brought in some guys. And I saw what he was working on, man. And so, you know, I felt it was only right, man. Like, hey, you know what? Let's ride this thing out, man, to the very end. And I wanted to be like, I like to be sure, right? And so I wanted to be sure if I needed to move on or not. And he proved that I didn't need to move on, right? And so I'm excited for him. And once again, man, it's one of those God things, man. That was God, man, working, you know what I'm saying, in his life, my life, and in basketball. Nobody with the different types of injuries throughout the year, right? We saw, like, the very beginning of the year, like, yo, man, we could beat probably anybody in this league. But then we had some injuries and they were happening at crazy times. And so we didn't really have a full team, man, till towards the end of the year. And we ended up 8th, and we got in there and won that first game. And when we beat Bethune-Cookman and really slid into the number 1 seed and got the rest and whatnot, I've been around, man, where when guards get on fire, there ain't nothing you can do. And our guards got on fire. I seen it one time when I was at Maryland. This dude named John Gilchrist in the ACC tournament, man, like,
yes,
was decent all year, man, but got to the tournament and went ballistic. You saw it when my man at Syracuse did it one year, man. Like, at some time, and I saw that in them dudes, man. I was like, man, we gonna win this thing, man. And sure enough, boom. And then we go to Dayton, beat Lehigh. They were a much bigger team, but our guards, they couldn't handle our guards. We beat Lehigh in the first 4. Immediately after we win that game, NCAA says, hey, man, y'all got to jump on a plane right now, head to Tampa. We thought we was going to be able to get a little rest, you know what I'm saying? We on a plane, land in Tampa, 3 a.m., figure that out, man, and then go, you know, play Florida, and it was a hell of a run. First time we won an NCAA game in men's basketball, so history was made.
So that's the thing, you know, AD, you talked about that, and I was sitting back when you guys won the tournament. And again, I do another show, and I said, wait a minute now, this is historic, because now while you talked about just, you know, the 3 schools that had done it, you know, this year, but for us, the SWAC, it's only been like 3 schools that have ever done that, period.
Yeah.
In the whole history of having men's football, you know, again, and like I said, and I gave you credit for this too, because we can't not count women's sports, but to win. And like I said, I call them the major championships. Again, nothing against some of the smaller, you know, athletic sports, but the ones that we know about. For you to have a women's championship in volleyball regular season, the men's basketball and men's football, that is unprecedented. And when I saw that, and again, and looking at it again, and like I said, we got a lot of your Prairie View family in here that have, like, as Coach said, have been through the ups and downs. And to see this renaissance of a charter member of the SWAC that has been here through thick and thin, to see you all, because AD Goff, I've always said this, and Coach knows this. I've always said Prairie View should always be good, because you're in Texas. Prairie View's an amazing school. You got amazing alums. You got them all over that state. So that's one of those, like I say about FAMU. FAMU should always be good. We're in Florida, you know? So just to see those seeds that you've planted, when you say, you know what, I'm going to plant a seed here, I'm going to get a new football coach. I'm going to plant a seed here, I'm going to get a new golf coach. I'm going to plant a seed here, I'm going to get a new women's volleyball coach. I believe that you said, right? Correct.
Yep.
But then you said, I got a tree out there that just needs a little bit of watering with the basketball. The foundation, the roots are strong. So that's why I think it's so amazing, because I think what Coach said, when we hear ADs and things like that, it has a lot more to do with, again, just hiring coaches. It's about running the program, making sure it's profitable, making sure you got, listen, AD, you got 100,000 customers every year, minimum.
Yeah.
And now they got access to get to you now.
Yeah.
So I find that. So I wanna play something. Again, Coach. I'm one of these people. I like to play things because this is something that your coach said, and I think this has something to do with your vision, but also something that I read. So I want to play a video real quick of your coach because something I believe you voted because I want to talk to you about something about your scheduling, and we're gonna play this real quick about.
Okay.
And then, of course, your coach always got a soundbite there, AD.
No doubt.
He got a soundbite. Let's get this up and play this right here. This is Tremaine Jackson talking about schedule. No, wait a minute.
Years ago, you want to always be reputable. You want to always be reputable. I get mad when I see things about rankings of FCS conferences and we're 10th or 13th. I think we have something to do with that, and I'm not knocking anybody. I think we just got to make sure we're always putting ourselves on the cutting edge, right? And not just doing what we've always done. If we're Division I conference, we need to play Division I people. It just is what it is. When I was in Division II, we played Division II people. And so I think if you look at our schedule, like you and I talked before, you see how we feel. We play 12 Division I games, and one of those is an FBS game. And we will always do that. There's enough FCS teams in our state for us to be able to fill that schedule. We just did a home and home with Houston Christian. We should play Houston Christian every year. Every year. It's an easy bus trip. I like staying in downtown Houston when we're away. So we should just play that game. And some people are going to complain about it, though. I think that's a loser's mentality. I'm just telling you. Like, if you want to be elite, you got to play elite people. We're going up with the number 3 team in the country. And then 3 weeks later, we played the number 6 team in the country on our level with Baylor in the mix of it and Texas Southern, which is a rival. That's always a tough game. First 4 weeks of our season are really tough. I wish we could play School of the Blind and Mary had a little lamb chops. We don't get those anymore. And we put them away a long time ago. So I was glad the commissioner did that. I think that shows where he's going with the conference too. Dr. McClellan was our AD when I was at the other place. And that dude always had big vision on what he wanted to do with our conference. I'm waiting on him to get to the second phase that he mentioned when we were there, which I think people really like the second phase, and those that don't like it, they don't need to go. And so I think as long as we keep following Dr. McClellan, we'll be fine.
What's the second phase?
It ain't for me to tell you.
So, AD, now listen, I got one other thing to add because I saw this, and I want to ask you this question because he talked about the scheduling. But one of the things that I saw, and I want to ask you that, and this is, comes, hey, shout out to Kyle Mosley. That is Coach Cole's guy. But he said that the conference also voted to eliminate, which Coach is talking about, non-Division I and non-Division II football opponents from the league schedule beginning in 2020. A mandate McClellan credit to the athletic directors. So wait a minute now, AD, you got to take us in the back room. Now, how did this come about? Because it's two things. Coaches don't schedule the football games. They might give you input, hey, who would you like to play? But the ADs, because the money got to work, the schedule's got to work. Talk to us about, your thought process of scheduling, and then talk to us how you guys got together and why, as the ADs, did you feel, because as Dr. McClellan said, it was the ADs that said, hey, we need to do this to elevate the conference.
So a couple things. First of all, on the schedule, when I was talking with Coach Jackson and we was getting to know each other, and he's like, man, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do with the program? I said, man, I'm trying to be an elite FCS program, right? And to be elite, like he said, you got to play an elite schedule, right? I want us to be ranked in the top 25, right? And in order to be ranked, you got to play all these other FCS, have a strength of schedule and those type of things. And so once he came on board, I already started working, right, on being able to play Tarletons, the East Texas A&Ms, the Stephen F. Austins, and, you know, Houston Christians, all those, man. I was calling them because they're in our footprint. So, you know, and I've got a good relationship with those guys in the Southland Conference. So being that we're in their footprint, man, I was like, hey, man, let's set this up. Let's play Incarnate Word. UTRGV just came up. So, hey, man, let's get a 4-game series with them. And so, you know, that's why our schedule looks the way it does, right? And so we, unbeknownst that this was going to happen, started this way before we even had conversations in the AD's room about what we wanted to do, because I knew what we wanted to do at Prairie. I wasn't worried about what everybody else was trying to do. I knew where we were trying to go, and me and Coach were on the same page. But I'm going to tell you what happened is that, you know, when we looked at the SWAC race this year, right? You had Alabama State, who lost 1 game in the East, right? But couldn't make the championship, right?
Right.
And Alabama State beat us, right? But we're on the West. We can make the championship. So it was really like 3 teams, you know, us, Jackson State, Alabama State, you know what I'm saying? And so we thought maybe they might get some consideration for the FCS playoffs, but, you know, they're playing Alabama State's playing the Turkey Bowl, whatever they play. And, you know, and the FCS, we got feedback from the FCS selection committee, say, hey, man, they played too many non-D1 games really to be in consideration. They had a great season. We think they're great. But, you know, when we start looking at that, we're like, hey, man, like, where do we want to go as a conference? Like, do we want to be able to be considered for the FCS playoffs? Because, you know, in a heated race, man, it only takes 1 loss for you not to be able to get to the championship. In 23, that happened to FAMU, but FAMU was able to get in. Jackson State went in as the East Championship champion, but FAMU got in the playoffs, right? And so we're looking like, hey, man, in order for us to really get that respect nationally, we've got to be able to put a team in there if they're good enough. And then I sit on the FCS oversight committee, right? And so in our meetings during the wintertime and during the fall, we talked about selection criteria. And so really what they're looking at is giving priority to those who have played 11 or more Division I games. And so when I brought that back to, you know, the ADs and the commissioner, and we started talking in our meeting, everybody was like, hey, man, let's get rid of the D2s and the Lincolns and all those, you know what I'm saying? And hell, we played Lincoln last year because we had a hole in our schedule that I inherited when I first got there. I tried to play another NIA squad. They canceled on me, so I had to get somebody real quick, man, because it was homecoming. And you know how PV is with homecoming. Like, that's right. Hey, you better have homecoming. So they don't really care who you play, but you better have homecoming. So, you know, I was getting calls. We still having homecoming. We changing it. But, you know, I ended up putting that game in there. But, you know, that's how most of that came to fruition, man. And you know, ADs and the commissioners, you know, because the commissioner's like, what do y'all want to do, man? Like, here's the data. Make a decision. And so that's how we made the decision.
You know, I think that is just so important because one of the things, and AD Goff, you've been around 3 years, but I know you heard it, is that's been the struggle. The SWAC has its proud tradition. And Coach Cole is part of it, actually your players and things like that. So when you're looking at that, but what we've heard is the SWAC doesn't play anybody. They don't have the high RPI rankings and things like that. Basketball, football thing, it hurts us. And one of the things I knew the issue was, like you're saying, scheduling. You know what I mean? You got to fit the schedule. You got to find people. But the fact that the ADs got together, and it sounds like you were some of the catalysts, you know, to help move that forward. I think this is very important because we're in a new world now. People don't wait for the newspaper to come out. As soon as the schedule come out, AD Golf, trust me, they got people right now already breaking down schedule. Don't even know who's gonna be on the roster.
Yeah.
They're just killing me.
Yeah.
They're up. You know, Prairie View only gonna win this amount of games, and Jack State only win. Man, how y'all not, man, stop. But my point of it is, as soon as they see, like you say, a Lincoln, then that takes a world of its own. And then that is used for, and unfortunately, for people that are not positive about our school as a negative. You see what they're doing? They don't want to play anybody. They're scared to play people like that. But what I respect the fact that you say, hey, man, listen, we in Texas. We're going to play folks in Texas that's got a name. And I think that is huge for the conference because you all, and it's really, and I had to break this down to somebody. There's only really 2 states that have a multitude of FCS PWI schools like you all do. That's Texas and Louisiana. Mississippi doesn't have any. No. Alabama has a few. A lot of those guys have moved up. Florida, everybody's moved up. So, and the regional team that FAMU used to play, they've all moved up, in the Georgia Southerns, the Kents, all those people have moved up. So the fact that you say, you know what, we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It works for us financially, because I try to explain something. You can't just say I'm going to play at home and home, because money matters. To move those players, you can't just say I'm going to play somebody 8 hours away and you losing money. That doesn't work. But as Coach said, if I go to Houston Christian, 45 minutes down the road, or Stephen, or go 4 hours up to Tarleton and turn right back, the money makes sense, because you are running a business and things like that. So what I like the fact that you said business-wise, this makes sense. It's not going to hurt the budget, because we're going to be able to turn right back around, get everybody, and the kids are not going to be taxed on the bus for 6, 7, 8 hours, because that's another thing too. I had to explain to somebody. If I tell you to go somewhere in Alabama, play a PWI to make somebody feel good, and your kids got to ride that bus, you think you don't win that game? And you got to leave at 2 in the morning? That it doesn't make sense. Common sense has to come into play here. So I like the fact that you use your common sense clearly that you have, but also you're saying, you know what, the way to build our brand is to beat these people. Because the one thing, and I'll say this, and trust me when I say this, AD, FAMU is always going to talk about we won the most playoff games because we beat the PWIs. We ain't played in the playoffs and won a game in almost 20 years, but we still say it because we played it. We won the first national championship because we beat the PWI. That means something. So for the fact that I believe that you guys are going to play a strong game against Tarleton, a strong game against Stephen F. Austin, and play the game, and as you have a coach, because that's another thing we're going to get to, and you're building, those games are not going to be competitive. Those are going to be games that you guys are going to be expected to win. That's what's exciting about.
Yeah, and that's that we're going in there expecting to win. Like, we don't never expect to lose. But here's the other thing too, right? Like I said, I mentioned being in Texas, right? Like, if we're going to recruit high-level kids out of Texas, we got to recruit against Tarleton, Stephen F. Austin, Incarnate Word, UTRGV, Houston Christian, and then even the next level up, UTSA, you know what I'm saying? Those schools, like, we have to compete against them. So we've got to be able to measure ourselves against them on the field and off the field, right? Because anybody worth their salt in Texas is going to get recruited by all of them. And so we've got to be able to win some of those recruiting battles.
Now, AD, I want to ask you something. That leads to the next thing. You're building something. Now, I couldn't verify this, but I saw reporting again, and I'm the type of person, I like to verify things. But Coach Jackson, when he came on, he talked to me and Coach Cole, and we talked about getting players. He told us straight up, he said, listen, if you come to Prairie View talking about some NIL, you ain't got no deal here. You ain't got no deal here. But wait a minute now, AD. Now, y'all don't win a championship, and there's word on the street all of a sudden, y'all got $200K for some NIL. AD, talk to us. Now, is this true? Is this something that you have been working on?
We got some money to play with, man.
Got a little money.
I made sure that once we won that thing, that we was gonna have some money, because we got to be in the game, man. Like that, like that's part of it. Like, you know, we agreed, like, hey, man, this year is gonna be free. Next year can't be free again. And so, you know, we good now.
Well, see, I want to talk about it because that's so important. There was a viral clip again. Coach Mickey Joseph talked about the brand. And he talked about how these kids, hey, they not thinking about brands. They talking about $4,200. And he got a lot of feedback left and right about that. You know what I mean? But what I've said is, and this is what I'm talking about, we got to live in the 21st century, 2026. Prairie View is building a brand. It's hot. And I believe if all things are equal, and I've said this, and people know I stand on it, and Coach knows this, you're not going to tell me if I'm in Texas and we got kids and they're evaluating, and nothing against some of those fine schools down there in Texas, East Texas, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No disrespect. I don't know the name, but you know what I'm talking about. And I say, you come to Prairie View, you're going to get an excellent education. You're going to be around people that care. You're going to be a reliable alumni base that's going to help you get a job. And oh, by the way, I got a little something for you to, you know, take your girlfriend out. We're not going to lose that, AD. We're not going to lose that, the recruiting battle. What do you think?
Let me butt in. All you got to do is get them to campus.
Yeah.
and the campus life.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Our campus is
you
beautiful.
know,
And campus is beautiful.
They just had football week this past week, and they had 700 students show up at the party. They had a 90s party, Coach, with football players. 700 students showed up.
So how important was that for you looking at this and saying, you know what, as we are building this foundation, looking at rev share and NIL, was that like when you first got in here and you said, was that on your roadmap to success that, hey, I want to build an NIL or rev share? Because I think it'll be more probably a rev share because of like using terminology and things like that.
Yeah. Because what I looked at when I first got here was cost of attendance, right? Which is, you know, scholarship and then a little bit of money. The federal guidelines say cost of attendance. Well, then the House settlement got passed, and so then it was rev share, and so, you know, I always want to be on the cutting edge. And I knew that the PWIs in the state of Texas that we're recruiting against were doing it. And so my thing is I always want to be able to compete against those in the state of Texas, right? If I compete against those in the state of Texas, we're going to do all right? Because Texas is about football in the state. And so what I wanted to be able to do is say, hey, man, if a young man is looking at different football programs, I want to be able to give him the same great student athlete experience that everybody else can provide. But if he wants an HBCU experience, that should be a no-brainer, right? We're the closest HBCU to California, so we focus on Cali a lot, right? And if I'm getting those guys here, I want to make sure we're taking care of them, right? And like I said, I got to be able to compete against the Tarleton Stephen F. Austins because they've got NIL, rev share, and they're doing it. So I don't want it to be like, hey, man, I'd really love to go to PV, but they're giving me $8,000 and y'all can't give me nothing, right? I want to be like, nah, man, if you're worth that, we're going to give it to you now. Now make a decision. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be, oh, you're not providing something they're not providing.
Now, I want to tie the last thing, and I'm going to turn back to Coach because we're talking about the financials. One of the things, too, that Commissioner McClellan talked about was SWAC TV and the success and things about that. And he said the next stage of this, which I found out, and shout out to Mo Carter, who came on Sipping on Sundays, is that he's going to utilize as it grows and brings in revenue, profitable revenue, that's going to be able to turn back into the schools. And he said NIL, but I want to make sure we're using the right language. It's going to basically be rev share. Is that rev something that it's going that they're going to be able to take SWAC TV revenue profit and be able to give it back to the conference members to use for rev share? Is that something that you guys kind of talked about when he brought that to you about SWAC TV, that where he was going to go with that, hey, this is how we're going to also compete and help our universities?
Yeah. He talked about like when he laid out SWAC TV, because we all had to opt into the SWAC TV because there were some people that had their own deal, you know what I'm saying, streaming and stuff. And he was like, listen, man, if everybody gets in this thing, I believe we'll be able to package it once we're doing it for a couple of years, be able to get the revenue, and I'm going to distribute it back to you guys and to do whatever you want with it, right? And so that was intriguing to me, man. And you know, it's funny because you talk about SWAC TV. So in 24, we was all ESPN, at least PV was, right? Like we wasn't on anything else because we had a good year in 23. We was expected to be very good in 24. Well, we weren't as good in 24. So when we didn't meet the expectations of what everybody thought we was going to do to be able to get back to the championship, we kind of got put on SWAC TV, right? So we had a whole bunch of SWAC TV. But when you look at the SWAC TV numbers, our games are through the roof as far as viewers because they put the TSU game on SWAC TV. They put
wait a minute. I want that, to me, was one of the seminal moments for SWAC TV. Because people, and Coach talked about this, it was hard to always find that game. And the level of play for that game, that's when people say, man, did you see that game on SWAC TV? And people were calling people and telling, hey, man, jump on SWAC TV, Prairie View, and Texas have a battle. You know, so I wanted to just let people know that I think that was the game, that was the foundation for people to really say, hey, man, we got something here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, that's all good. I was going to mention that. But the crazy thing, the highest viewed game was us and UTRGV.
Wow.
Because all them folks that couldn't get up here, they was excited to see their team play their first Division I game and whatnot. And so they got a big following down there. So the numbers was through the roof with SWAC TV. And then any other game we was on did pretty well too. And so we saw the power directly at SWAC TV, man, because we participate in a lot of games. And so now we're going to get a couple more ESPN games because we kind of did our thing. But like this SWAC TV thing, you know, we were already streaming all of our sports. So when he said you want to opt in, I was like, yeah, we're already doing it. We're already streaming softball and baseball and our volleyballs and basketball. So it was an easy fit for us. We were already doing it. And so, you know, we're kind of at that precipice of once we start getting on like, you know, cable TVs and stuff and selling on the streaming, that money is going to be able to help all of us.
All right, Coach, I'm gonna let you get back in. I had to get the money part out, you know, for my money part.
Look, Coach, you know, you fabulous on digging into the information. I just want to say, because you know we kind of coming to the end, Coach. I know you just now getting off of all these championships and planes. I would call Coach Goff. Yeah, I call everybody Coach Goff. So and I would call it, man, where you at, man? I'm great. Get on the plane. I call you on the other end. Man, I was just there, and we just won tonight, man, and they flying us out tonight, and it was just it's been a whirlwind, man. But I can't say enough, man, and I'm gonna talk to the Prairie View fans. You know, Campbell was our money man, go. You know, and I know I said, well, boy, that put the pressure on you. Got all these championship coaches. Well, I'm putting the pressure on the alumni. Y'all got a championship athletic director, and believe me, people are watching. And the man deserves his too. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I'm Goff, man. I'm Goff. And I'm like Max, man. You know, hey, make Prairie View or continue to make Prairie View good again.
No
man,
doubt, no doubt.
You coming on the show. Anything, Coach? I know we gotta let you go, man. And
hey,
I definitely be there this summer. I'm gonna definitely come down this summer and spend some time with you guys, man. And I didn't say enough about your beautiful wife, man. I met her, Coach, man. I mean, this cat, man, athletic. Everybody athletic.
Yeah. Everybody in my family.
From mama on down, man. And we had a great time at State Fair. Campbell, you got to make one. Maybe you can have breakfast with us.
Yeah. Well, see, AD, listen, I keep, and people know I talk about this. Listen, one of my good friends, her mother is class of 1959. She buys 3 tables every time you have your fundraiser down there. Miss Ann Williams. So listen, I'm gonna have to get that because Miss Ann Williams already got the tables for me. You tell me she buys 3. Old school.
Come on down, man. Come on down.
And let me give a shout out to my home girl, which I think you met, Miss Regina Bennett Crafter. And she got 30,000 for you, Coach. She got 30,000 for you, Coach. So y'all need to hug her and treat her good and make sure y'all can get that money. You know,
no doubt.
She's been talking to your people and it
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.